Our harvest is to create a tradition, community, nation, and humanity. We are loved and worth our weight in gold. We define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Secure our rotary connections. The future is here now to build and maintain our community together. We must continue to make our communities. We must build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses to profit from them together. Losing time is not an option. Let us make our collective vocation the order to restore the confidence in our traditions. I believe that we will leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. I believe in our righteousness and our victory of our struggles. Problems are problems, and solve them together. Keep your head to the sky and look forward to our future one day at a time.
Umoja means unity, so our duty be to our community and our people, whether they are ratchet or regal, from corner store to Christian Dior, from jailhouse to legal, rowdy or peaceful, club or cathedral. You don't have to befriend every black face that you encounter, but if you can count your black friends, that's probably internal racism at its deepest. White supremacy exists in black bodies, that's easy. It shows up as being separatist or elitist. Our enslaved ancestors were taught to envy our own, back when white folks had some of us working in their homes 400 years later, and some of us are still separated. From complexion to status, proximity to whiteness, and other shiny things that distract us from what really matters, you know. They like to say, no other race bickers like us. Well, them folks wasn't labeled nigga like us. They don't beef like us because they didn't experience grief like us, weren't made to war or carry the same scars. They didn't slave as hard, yet here we are. But as soon as one of us falls, our God complex kicks in. Now we walking around convinced that we are better than them, though we rockin' similar skin. Can't take the heat in the kitchen, but some of us steady cooking up beef. Don't know our neighbors, and now there's tension in the streets. There's a lack of resources, so we compete because y'all the babies gotta eat. But peep the strategy. When they push one man's back against the wall, he's destined to make the next man flee. So friends who used to occupy the same space are telling folks, hey man, you gotta move over. But Umoja reminds us to maintain unity in a world of few black tributes and too many black eulogies, too many traps, not enough opportunities. So our duty be to build a connection wherever we see the possibility. I wish the younger me knew how dope she was. I don't even have to go back that far to bandage the wounds and treat the scars. It wasn't even a few years or more that I was still underestimating the God in me. Still allowing others to trigger insecurities, worrying about friends who become finicky or how easy it is to gain an enemy. I had to remind myself that their issues have nothing to do with me, except that for too often, I made it my business. I was grown and still owning other people's faults, y'all. It was ridiculous, but when you are deep in the trenches, it is easy to question your worth. I went sifting for gold in the dirt, tripped up, got my feelings hurt. Life happens. I have not always honored me. I sought validation in someone who couldn't even speak life into me, and it robbed me of a treasure I didn't even know that I possessed. I was already whole, already golden, already blessed, but I was out here seeking consensus, overly consumed with other people's opinions, told myself I was calling my homegirl to think things through when I was actually giving people permission to tell me what to do. I wanted to evaluate my thoughts with an audience, get my social media approved. Have you ever asked a human to weigh in on the hand that God dealt before you played it? I did, though I didn't claim it, didn't even have the vocabulary to name it, but I was being codependent. I had a brilliant mind and I was opting out of using it. Could have propped up on my own understanding, y'all, but I wasn't choosing it. That version of me needed validation. She cared if other people cared about what she was saying. She did more girl talk than praying. And I'm not saying you can't lean on your village. I'm saying at some point you got to trust your own intuition. I had to look myself in the mirror and say, Dr. Rebecca Dupas, is you, and the daughter is you isn't. And how long will you occupy these confused spaces before you stand in your greatness, before experience is your teacher? You've been practicing Kwanzaa all these years. When will you embody Kuji Chagalia? The principle says that we have to define and speak for ourselves. That's too precious of a gift to ever give to anybody else. See, the thing about having a void is that any hole will allow itself to be filled. So either you take advantage of yourself are people who don't have your best interest in mind. Ujima means collective work and responsibility. How do we carry one another collectively? You know, one of the most beautiful things I've heard spoken is, let me carry your burdens. When one person was hurting, the other offered to be of service. It was the most selfless effort that one can show. To see someone's load and be willing to take it on, part or whole, especially in a world where we often hear, to each his own. You know, when someone is suffering, it's easy to tell them, yeah, just let whatever that is go. We absolve ourselves from playing any significant role. We have learned that the people who grind are the people who eat. But in the communities that our grandparents seen, they tried to make sure that people had what they need. You know, grandma would cook a little extra if somebody was going through. Or if they needed a place to stay, they were offered a room, and their children was grandma's business too. But what we once saw as collective work is now distorted. We see it as crabs in a barrel trying to be free, but let's not forget that someone uprooted them crabs and put them where they shouldn't be. This world has told us to pull up ourselves by our bootstraps and totally distorted the traditions that we had around community and help. You know, it's easy to tell someone what to do, but can you stand with them long enough to help them get through? Ujima teaches us that our brothers and sisters' problems are ours. So yes, secure your own, but true success is when all of us are empowered. Me and my friends already buy Black. We already checking for Black-owned businesses. We been on that. Black vendors and mentors, if there's an expense for what we wish for, we spending a cent more where there's an incentive for the culture. We rooting for a circulated Black dollar, already concerned with keeping Black wealth in a cycle. We gonna spend the block on an opportunity to take one of our own higher and sure. Some Black businesses have steeper prices. Maybe a few still need to develop their business model, but we've already seen how we can keep other races rich, so we commit to investing in our own shit. Killer Mike documented the struggle of relying solely on melanated businesses because some of us are still trying to carve our way into certain industries, but we still gonna buy Black whenever possible. We gonna sprinkle in some intention despite the obstacles. We ain't gonna give everybody a Black pass, but we will take into account the circumstances they had to surpass just to own a building or buy some land, just to get a loan. Let's not forget that nonsense Anna Delvey was on, or how we jumped through hoops for a fraction of the opportunities a white woman with no plans are shown. And while our folks gonna continue to come correct with quality products, good customer service, and businesses we can respect, we will promise to invest in ourselves, in the next generation of Black wealth, in the dream of a melanated king or queen. We gonna share each other's brands, make sure the other person is seen. That is the promise of Ujamaa. Find Black people and spend your Black dollar. That is how we uphold the fourth principle of Kwanzaa. Okay, hear me out, beloved. Your goals are for you, but your purpose is for the streets. You can dress your goals conservatively, but your purpose needs to entice every single person that you meet. Let your goals be a lady, but your purpose, it ain't so discreet. It's gonna rub elbows with anybody that it needs. Your purpose, your reason for being, it can't be defined by society's standards. It's not expected to be well-mannered. In fact, for it to flourish, it has to break barriers. It has to go where you would not go on a regular. It has to flirt with people you aren't even attracted to. It has to be more mature so it don't respond like the old you. Your purpose, it needs to own the room. It needs to be flaunted. Your purpose ain't purposing if it hasn't found an audience who wants it. Your purpose, it might need to show a little skin. It might need to date your ex's best friend or befriend an enemy. Purpose ain't got no loyalty. Not even to you. It needs to know when to make a subtle move and when to move more obviously. Your purpose is too great of a thing to be a secret. God gave it to you for a reason. I would go as far as to say that to ignore your purpose is to commit treason against your God and against yourself. You got to tap into your reason for being and not be distracted by anybody else. Today's Kwanzaa principle is Nia. It teaches us to use our purpose to strengthen the community. Have you considered that you are here somehow to create unity, and that the thing that is special within you is your God-given duty? I heard once that our talents are here to comfort us. My auntie would say, baby, don't let anything that God gave you go to waste. Whatever you were blessed with was intended as grace, so you got to dig. Reach deep into the wealth of you and give. Figure out the life that you want and live, but not haphazardly. She was no fan of mediocrity, taught me to sow into the vision that I had for me. Oh, you creative? You a poet? Let me hear something. Say it like you mean it. I want to feel something, she would say. You ain't writing just for you. Those words got the power to pull all of us through. So what you whispering for? Why you locking them prayers and poems in a journal when you could be sharing them with the world? What you tiptoeing around here for, little girl? You have something that makes you soar. Our talents give us wings. We just got to decide to be more ceiling than floor, to use our creativity to endure. My kaumba is poetry. What's yours? Because I'm sure your light is even brighter than it now shines. There is a thing that you were born with that will only get better in time, something that will open doors and build bridges. It might even be the thing that used to leave them in stitches because maybe you wasn't that good in the beginning. Maybe you are avoiding it now because you think your path is failure written, but baby, there ain't a skill within you wasted. Not a thing that you were meant to do that you should try escaping. Let it be a passion and a source of payment. Let it heal you and make the village greater. Go ahead and dig. There is no cap on your creativity, like Auntie said. Just decide the life that you want and live. After your boo, to expect technology to do what it's supposed to do. So you have faith enough to operate a vehicle daily, to trust that you will get to your destination safely. You have enough faith to execute your supervisor's vision with precision, to secure the steps that will solidify their decisions. You have faith enough to eat at restaurants with no insight into who has touched your food. Faith enough to love or lust after your boo, to expect technology to do what it's supposed to do. You expect that your drink or medicine of choice won't harm you, that your friends will have your best interests in mind. We walk through random doors all the time. Seldom second guess that we will be fine on the other side, but isn't it funny that too many times when it comes to our goals and our aspirations, we create loopholes big enough to justify our procrastination. We imagine obstacles along the way, many that don't even exist, but the thought of the difficulties cause us to shift. The thing that we want is right around the bend, but we second guess our own strength. Beloved, you were put here to win. Keep that same faithful energy when it comes to you and your kin. Imani reminds us to aspire for spiritual growth, because when you tap into the God in you, you will never fear the word no. You'll just find another way to reach your goals.